If you have IBS, then you know what a struggle it is. But traveling with IBS is an entirely different story. I am the biggest foodie. I love eating. I love traveling. I love traveling to be able to try new foods and eat new things. And with IBS, that's just not the case anymore. What used to bring me pure joy and happiness now brings me anxiety and dread. My mind starts to race. What if I get nauseous? What if I get a flare up? What if I can't eat? What if? And it just keeps on going and it just won't stop. I just got back from my vacation in Iceland and it was a great time. It's such a beautiful country. If it's not on your bucket list, definitely add it. But on night one, I ate something and it just didn't sit well, and I spent the entire night throwing up, running from the bed to the bathroom to either throw up or do diarrhea. I know that's a little TMI, but if you have IBS, then you know the struggles, and I'm sure you understand and you have been in my shoes. So I started the week throwing up, feeling awful, and I ended the week actually being able to eat without pain, enjoying myself, and my mind was no longer racing. Hey, I'm Cheeky Linguini and I have PCOS, IBS, and anxiety. And today I want to talk to you about the connection between the gut and the brain. So a little backstory on my IBS and on my mindset prior to my Iceland trip. Because of my IBS symptoms, I got my medical marijuana card and have been using cannabis for the past couple of years. I first started with just smoking after I ate if something gave me pain and if I was in a flare-up, and slowly, after time, I started smoking more and more, and it got to the point where I would need to smoke after almost every meal because I was just telling myself that I was in pain or that I wasn't going to be able to eat if I didn't smoke. So I was really using the cannabis as a crutch for my IBS. So fast forward to my Iceland trip. Iceland has a zero tolerance for THC. So I did not risk it and I didn't take anything, no edibles, no vape pens, nothing. And I was really anxious for that. For weeks prior to my trip, all I can think about was, I'm not gonna have anything to smoke, I'm not gonna be able to eat, I won't have my appetite if I don't smoke, what if I get a flare up and then I'm gonna be in pain and I can't smoke, and it would just go on and on and on, and it was really tied to my crutch with smoking and just my fear of having a flare up and having nothing to do about it, because normally if I have a flare up here, I'll just smoke and it'll make me feel better and I'm all good. But I was just so fearful. What was I gonna do over there if I had a flare up? What was I gonna do over there if I couldn't eat? What was I gonna do if I was nauseous? And it paralyzed me. Not only do I use the cannabis for smoking and for my IBS and for my anxiety, but I also have a lot of anxiety when it comes to traveling and flying. So then I was also just working myself up that at the end of the trip, I knew I was gonna obviously have to fly back to the States and I was gonna have no THC. So my mind was just constantly running for weeks before I got on the trip, before I even got on the plane. It was just constant. What am I gonna do? What if I get nauseous? What if I have a flare up? How am I gonna fly back? What am I gonna do? When I finally got to Iceland, my first meal was a burger and fries. Probably not the safest meal with IBS and with my stomach, but we're at a pub and there was really nothing else, not many options. So I had my burger and fries and my stomach was hurting a little, but it wasn't terrible. After that, my husband and I went walking and we found a brewery, and we love going to different breweries when we travel and trying new craft beers. And like I said, I'm a foodie and I enjoy beer and I just enjoy all of this. So when we got to the pub, my husband asked me if we wanted to split one instead of me getting my own. But I was excited, so I was like, no, I'll get my own. Biggest mistake, I should have split it. I should have just tried it. But I had my own entire beer, and literally on the last sip, I looked at him and I was like, we need to go. So we went straight back to the hotel room and I threw up everything. Everything that I ate, my entire burger, just gone. And I spent the rest of the night in and out of the bathroom between throwing up and diarrhea, and it was awful. It was an awful first night, and it just confirmed everything that I was thinking before. I'm not gonna be able to eat. I didn't have any cannabis. I had a flare up. I'm in a flare up and I'm not gonna be able to get out of it because I have no cannabis, and my mind was just going all night long and all morning long. Once I woke up the next morning, I was still in pain and my mind was just racing I'm not gonna be able to feel better. This is gonna last this entire week. I'm not gonna be able to eat for the entire week. You know, what a fun vacation that I can't eat and then I'm gonna be in pain. That next day, my mind was still so negative and my thoughts were racing, and I just continued to tell myself, you know, I had a flare up, I have no cannabis, I'm not gonna be able to eat for the rest of the trip, I'm not gonna be able to eat today. And of course I didn't. I barely ate that day, and whatever I did eat, I threw it up almost immediately. But I was so negative and my mindset was so hyper focused on the fact that I wasn't gonna feel good that of course I didn't feel good. That night, my husband spoke to me and he kind of just gave me a pep talk. He told me things that I already knew, but what I needed to hear. He reminded me how IBS and anxiety go hand in hand. How your stomach does hurt when you have IBS, and when you're in a flare-up, you can be in a lot of pain and you can have, you know, discomfort, but your anxiety and your mindset just heighten it and they just make it 1,000 times worse. That night we prayed and I literally begged God to just help me with my mindset and help me with my stomach pains. The next morning I woke up and I decided that I was not gonna let my mindset and this ruin my vacation, that I was going to feel better and that I was going to eat. That breakfast we prayed before eating, and it was a simple prayer. God, thank you for this food, bless the hands that made it, and please help it land nicely in my stomach. Amen. After that, I actually was able to eat a decent amount of food and I didn't throw it up and it landed nicely, and I was able to, you know, have a sigh of relief that, look, I ate, I had no cannabis, I had a flare up a couple days ago, and I'm still able to eat and I'm still able to enjoy myself, and I don't have crazy amount of pain. So that kind of just motivated me a little bit and made me feel a little bit better and just helped me continue to stay on that positive mindset. For lunch, we prayed before lunch again, and slowly but surely with every meal, I was able to eat a little bit more and more, and praying before every meal. And by the end of the trip, I was able to eat my entire dinner without any pain. I've mentioned before in another video how praying before your meal really does help with your digestion, and that's because when you pray before your meal or just simply take a deep breath in and calm yourself before your meal, you're activating your vagus nerve. And when you activate your vagus nerve, it helps with your anxiety and it helps with the running thoughts, but it also helps with your digestion. So it helps your body actually digest the food that you're about to eat. By the end of the week, I was feeling so much better with my flare-up, with my stomach pains, and with my mindset. I no longer had the racing thoughts of what was I gonna do. I wasn't thinking about the flare-ups. I wasn't thinking about not being able to smoke, or what if I were to get a flare-up and then I can't smoke. I was just calm and able to eat and enjoy my food. And if my mind did race, I have a bunch of different tips that I've spoken about. You sing, you can hum. And I was just really focusing on my mindset, which in turn helped me so much with my stomach that, like I said, by the end of the trip, on the last night, I ate my full dinner and I had some dessert. So it was crazy. It was a complete shift, and I learned so much on this trip. I learned so much about my anxiety, about my IBS, about my cannabis usage, that I decided that I was not going to smoke when I came back to Miami. I decided that I'm gonna just take a little break, a break that my body needs and deserves from the cannabis, and to prove to myself that I can get better and feel better without that crutch. Now it's been about 2 weeks since I left on the trip, so 2 weeks without cannabis, and I'm not gonna lie, I do want to smoke. My body has definitely gotten used to it, used to the feeling, and used to, the activity of it, but like I said, I'm gonna stay off of it just to continue to prove to myself that I don't need it and that I can handle the IBS pain without cannabis, and that I can just steer my mind into the right mindset so I can get out of that flare up quickly and back into a good calm mind and a good calm body. If you have IBS and struggle with what to eat and your racing thoughts, then I hear you, I see you, I know your struggles, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. Everybody always talks about IBS and finding the trigger foods, removing them, and you will feel better. And that is true, but that's only part of the equation. We really need to focus on our mindset. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I have new videos like this, grocery hauls, IBS and PCOS friendly recipes, tips and tricks, and more every weekday at 3 p.m.